What is going on, guys? This is your man Synergy back at you again with another video, and this time we're gonna actually be talking about tips and tricks for new players and even players that are having trouble with OS protocols, builds, and so forth. Um, I wanted to be able to make a comprehensive guide because I noticed that in the division community, or at least when you're looking at YouTube, it really isn't too much of a guide to explain the specific locations, the things about OS protocols, and so forth. And I've been messaged by a lot of people within the Discord to try to navigate on what to grind for and how to be able to make an optimized build, so to speak. So I taking the liberty and taking the time because I have been busy lately to be able to do this. Hopefully we can go through this step by step, and it could be very helpful for you. But in other words, let's get started. So first things first, before I even get on to the rest of the things, I think it's very important enough to know 1 to 30 that the daily quests are actually the most EXP that you would necessarily get from doing simple things such as upgrading your gear, which we'll get into, purchase stuff at the New York vendors, which if you're not familiar with the New York vendor, all you have to necessarily do is travel either here or if you have this open on the map, whether you're 1 to 20, and go to this particular vendor and purchase, just a simple item, and then you get that stuff. Sometimes it changes around on a daily basis, and I know that for most cases it will say the Dark Zone vendor. If you have the Dark Zone vendor open, it would be located on the other side. You would just essentially go to the Dark Zone vendor, but this is the easiest way to get EXP. But remember, this is every 24 hours to officially get free EXP, not just overall, but for the specialists that you have to. So for the Dark Zone, you have to be either level 20, I think it's either level 20 or 25 to be able to enter the Dark Zone, but this is one particular way that you could be able to level up. You could pick the targeted loot that's associated with your operator. As you could tell, this is Bulwark, I mean Bulwark, and then they have the other ones such as Demo and stuff, and so forth. And then when you get into the Dark Zone, I recommend, if you're just starting off, to go for landmarks such as the ones on challenging or hard, but we're basically going to go to the one on challenging and so forth. You basically, it's as simple as you running to the mobs, running the 5 waves, killing the boss, and then after you particularly kill the boss and stuff, you get chips and gear. For me, since I'm level 40 already, I get chips, and sometimes it would be gear. Then afterwards, you would basically go to the extraction, kill off the mobs, wait until the helicopter comes after you extract the loot, and then that's it. And it's easier to do these particular runs. I would recommend doing it at least 1 or 2 at a time, so that way you could be able to get the most out of the EXP. So basically what you would want to do essentially is go for hostile nest. This is something that I actually recommend to a lot of other people lower level. They have the normal ones, which is right before 30, but as you get to 30, they have dailies such as heroic nest and challenging, which actually are good for farming the gear mods and the weapon mods. And you could do this repeatedly, whether it be solo or as a team. The team gives bonuses, but basically it's as simple as you going in, completing the floors depending on what apartment map it is. You kill the boss gives you the loot, and then after that you open a door to get another set of loot that could be actually useful, and you could be able to run this as many times as possible if you need the gear mods or the weapon mods. So another important thing is the OS protocols, and basically they're available throughout the week with the weekly bounties. You're essentially going to focus on this. I would recommend doing this on a Thursday. Hostage situation, outposts, and supply runs with all 3. Once you complete that and go for those particular targets, the main bounty would be available on Thursday, and you can farm that as much as possible, which I recommend that. But basically you go in and you kill the boss. The boss drops a random one, whether it be blue or purple, depending on how many times you run it, and you can continue to keep doing this whether it be solo or in a group. So two things that you actually have to keep in mind is doing the SHD combinations and the ISAC, because by doing missions on different difficulties, partaking in Lone Wolf Challenge, which we'll later get into, and going throughout the map, searching for echoes and artifacts, actually allow you, depending on how much you earn, to be able to open up crates to be able to have access to Phoenix credits for those of you guys that are free to play players, in which is going to be very helpful for specialization upgrades, modding material upgrades, OS protocols, and crafting material to craft weapons and so forth, which you could regularly earn that base through all the other things that I explained, like hostile nests and missions and so forth. Another important thing is the weekly quests. The weekly quests for free to play players gives you recalibration and other upgrading material. It's as simple as you going into Dark Zone, doing the bounty, using a specific weapon, hostile nest, and Lone Wolf. Doing these challenges and earning these particular points, as you can see there, actually earned you recalibration and other material associated with each of the milestones. For this example, we use conflict because conflict is a submerge between the weekly quest and the recalibration material that you can also earn in conflict based off the levels. Is as simple as you killing off the other team and obtaining the control points, and by the end, depending on how well you actually do, you not only get recalibration, but you also get the OS and level up for the associated upgrades for recalibration and so forth. This is actually very useful if you do love PvP, and it could be very helpful to you. Another important factor is as you're using different weapons in the game that is associated with your build, you also gain proficiency. So the important part about proficiency is that it not only makes the gun stronger, but it also goes to the total armory. And the total armory, depending on which weapons you use, between shotguns, SMGs, ARs, marksman rifle, exotics, it actually goes towards certain milestones within the armory that give you certain bonuses. You complete them step by step, and depending on how much you complete at a time, you can actually be able to earn the overall armory proficiency, which give you not only credits but Phoenix credits and other particular material. This is very, very helpful, because as you go through the game and as you get to Endgame, this helps out very well, not with just the power score, but it helps out with the weapon damage and other associated things with your build that will give you that extra punch when you really need it. Lone Wolf Challenge is also very important too, because as you start to get stronger, this is the things that you would be able to do when you want to be able to earn not only Phoenix credits but the rest of the other rewards. You're mainly doing this not just only because it gives you recalibration and everything, but because important enough, you need the tactical augments for certain weapons. For example, every 6 levels gives you a tactical augment. This one is for assault rifle, and then the next 6 levels after that is probably shotgun, and then it keeps going up until level 20. Level 20 actually gives you a selection of a tactical augment for gear, which could be very, very helpful for endgame. So basically, in order to farm for high-end gear, you need to be above level 30, but for those who are not above level 30 yet, and you're wanting to be able to get stronger, I recommend repeating the missions as well too, for better gear that's associated with your operator and the skills, because remember, it's all RNG based. You just have to repeat the missions and so forth, but the best places to go to repeat missions would be Chinatown, it would be Wall Street, and even you can throw in the mix Liberty. That's also helpful too, at least until you get to the point where you're level 30 to where you can farm for high-end gear. So basically, it's easy to join a clan. This is another useful tip I would actually give you by joining a clan. Remember that in order to leave a clan and join one, you have to donate all credits. Clan credits get transferred into a new clan. But basically, for this part, you would essentially join a clan, and there's things called clan investigations. in which they have a board. If you have a group, it's better to do it in a group because you can do it repeatedly by collecting the clues. Once you're done with it, and you're done with the runs, it gives you a lot of clan credits depending on how much runs you do. And you get to talk to the clan vendor in order to be able to get tactical arguments for your weapons or tactical arguments for your gear. And this is going to be extremely useful for you depending on how many times you actually grind, whether it be in a group or whether it be solo, which I don't think you'll get that much solo. It's better to just do it in a group anyways. So basically the last thing, which is endgame content, is the elite mission challenge, and I recommend either doing this in a group, doing this with your clan, or getting your gear score up or having an optimized build, because this has 3 damage types. If you click on the information, it will show you it, but this is pretty much the endgame stuff, which gives you T2 gear. You can only get T2 weapons and T2 gear from this, so I definitely recommend that you would get your power score up in the options that I showed in the previous part of this particular video. I hope that this tutorial, or at least these tips, are actually very helpful for you, because I know there's not that many guides for the game to specifically describe some of the locations, or at least tips that could be rather helpful to those who are new to the game. So I definitely do understand. If I left out any parts, I will fill it in within the comment section depending on what your questions really are. But for the most part, you know, it's a grind. You know, it's gonna always take a certain amount of hours for each of the thing, but I rather recommend, or at least advise, that you stay disciplined to do one thing a day. Like for example, if you are lower level, between 1 to 25, I would say, I would recommend just, you know, taking one day at a time to farm for gear mods, or one day at a time to farm for gear with better rolls, or, you know, and then move into steps, because you have to move at your own pace. You know, I know some people want to challenge themselves to get on leaderboard, and you know, I have nothing against that. That's fine. But it's great to save your resources, especially when you're getting to the point where you're trying to have an optimized build, and that's also understandable too. But that's my best recommendations for you. Again, if I left out any parts, just in the comment section, let me know. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you guys that have subscribed to my channel recently and have been helping me get to YouTube partnership. It's been a long time since I've actually made content related to any game, and I've been somewhat consistent. I can't really say I am consistent because, you know, I have a lot of things going on IRL, or whatever the case is. So, you know, I just appreciate a shout out to you guys. Also, another thing too, I just want to clarify that you don't necessarily have to be in the clan to join the Discord. I asked my team leader, it's not really much of an issue to have more people within the Discord and stuff like that. So if you want to join the Discord and you're from Europe or Asia, feel free to join the Discord. You know, get involved with the community. I mean, I consider it to be a family, the clan itself. So yeah, you know, be a part of the community and stuff like that. You know, maybe there's some advice that you can give to other new players, in regardless of what clan they're in. You know, but I would welcome you to be a part of Atlas Discord, but also to be a part of the community as well too. But I only hope for this video to be helpful, and you know, again, I want to see everybody get strong, whether it be from a leaderboard standpoint, for a PvP standpoint, just really just to help out other individuals, because that's kind of the point of even making these videos, not to really show off my build. I'm squishy as shit, so it doesn't really necessarily matter. I need a team. I'm only as good as my team. Just want to say that for the record. But this is Synergy. Again, thank you for everything. I hope you guys have a very great weekend. This is me signing off. Take it easy. Godspeed.